Some animals just feel like they're straight out of a legend, right? We're talking about a land crocodile, a living dinosaur, a creature whose name alone sounds like something from a fantasy epic. But the truth about the Komodo dragon, it's way more fascinating than any myth. So let's dive into the incredible real-life story of the world's largest lizard. I mean, when Western scientists first started documenting these dragons in the early 20th century, the stories they brought back were just wild. There was this one expedition in 1926, and get this, it captured the public's imagination so much that it directly inspired one of the most famous movie monsters ever, King Kong. Yeah, that's where the legend really went global.
But okay, before we get into all the monstrous details, and trust me, there are plenty, let's just ground ourselves in the basics. What exactly is this giant reptile?
First off, the sheer scale is just mind-boggling. We're talking up to 10 feet long and weighing in at a whopping 330 pounds. This thing is, without a doubt, the heavyweight champion of the lizard world. And they're in it for the long haul, too, taking almost a decade to mature and living for up to 30 years. And here's the thing, you can't just find them wandering around anywhere. Their entire wild population is stuck on just these 5 little islands in Indonesia. That's it, a tiny, tiny corner of the globe. And this isolation is a huge part of their story, making them a true national treasure, but also incredibly fragile. So how does an animal this massive become the absolute top dog, or a top dragon, in its environment? Well, it all comes down to a perfectly evolved set of tools that make it one of the most formidable predators on the planet. And let's start with a piece of equipment you probably wouldn't expect, its skin. It isn't just leathery and tough, it's literally armored. Now here's the really fascinating part. This armor isn't really for protecting it from its prey. It's for protection against other Komodo dragons. Their skin is reinforced with all these tiny bones called osteoderms that get tougher as they get older, which tells you everything you need to know. The biggest threat to a Komodo dragon is very often another Komodo dragon. All right, so that's defense. Let's talk offense. Just look at this comparison. Its teeth are basically a carbon copy of a theropod dinosaur's. We're talking about 60 razor-sharp serrated teeth designed for one thing, ripping and tearing flesh. And just like a shark, if one breaks or falls out, no problem, a new one just grows right in its place. Okay, so you have these killer teeth, but you gotta find something to bite first. And for that, the dragon has a kind of superpower. You see that forked tongue flicking in and out? It's literally tasting the air, picking up on tiny scent particles. It can smell a meal from almost 10 kilometers away. It's absolutely incredible. Its sight is decent, but honestly, its hearing's pretty terrible. Now we're getting to one of the most argued over parts of the Komodo dragon's biology, its deadly bite. For decades, everybody thought they knew the answer, but recent discoveries have flipped that old theory completely on its head. This is the big question. Was the old story right? Is it just a dirty mouthful of germs? Or is there something far more sinister at play? Okay, so for years, the accepted theory was the septic bite. The idea was that the dragon's mouth was just a disgusting swamp of nasty bacteria. The dragon bites its prey, the prey escapes, but then dies slowly from a raging infection. But a much newer and frankly cooler theory says it's not bacteria at all, it's venom. A complex toxic cocktail that does the job much, much faster. And the evidence for venom is really compelling. A study back in 2009 actually found 2 venom glands in the dragon's lower jaw. The stuff they secrete is nasty. It does 2 main things. It stops blood from clotting, causing massive bleeding, and it simultaneously sends the victim's blood pressure plummeting, which induces shock. So you see, it's not a slow death by infection. It's a rapid takedown from venom and blood loss. But like with any good scientific debate, it's not totally settled. Some scientists push back a little, saying that while these special proteins are definitely there, calling it venom in the same way we talk about a rattlesnake's might be oversimplifying things. It just goes to show you how much we're still learning about this amazing creature. So, we have armored skin, a dinosaur's bite, and a venom controversy. You'd think it couldn't get any weirder, right? Well, think again, because the Komodo dragon's life cycle is where things go from strange to just mind-blowing. To put it mildly, reproduction is a violent business. Males will literally get up on their hind legs and wrestle each other to establish dominance. Even the courtship that follows is pretty aggressive. Afterwards, the female lays around 20 eggs, and she often has to build decoy nests just to try and trick predators. And who's the main predator she's worried about? Yeah, it's other adult Komodo dragons. This is just shocking, but about 10% of an adult dragon's diet is made up of young dragons. It's cannibalism, plain and simple. To survive, the little hatchlings spend their first few years living up in trees, and get this, they even roll around in poop to make themselves smell completely unappetizing. So, this brutal world, combined with living on these remote islands, creates a huge evolutionary puzzle. I mean, what happens if a single female gets washed up on a new island, all by herself? How could she possibly start a new population? Well, nature has an answer, and it sounds like something from science fiction. Parthenogenesis. It's basically a virgin birth. A female can lay fertile eggs without ever meeting a male. And here is the truly brilliant part. Because of their unique genetics, those unfertilized eggs always hatch as males. This means a single female can arrive on an island, give birth to her own sons, and then mate with them to start a brand new colony. It's an absolutely incredible survival strategy. For all its power, for all its unbelievable adaptability, this ancient survivor is now facing its greatest threat ever. And that brings us to its very dangerous place in our modern world. The numbers really tell a grim story. You can see the trend here is just not going in the right direction. We're talking about only a few thousand of these magnificent animals left in the entire world. That's it. So it's no surprise that they're officially listed as endangered. The threats are exactly what you'd expect, and they're severe. Their habitat is being chipped away by human encroachment. Climate change is a huge one. Rising sea levels could literally swallow up the islands they call home. And then there's poaching of the dragons themselves and of the deer and other animals they need to eat to survive. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? This is a species that's basically a living fossil. It has outlasted countless other creatures over millions of years. And now the ultimate question is whether this real-life dragon, this true survivor from another age, can possibly survive the one predator it never evolved to handle, us.